Like suppose 1 second. ACCA global.com. In the ACCA global.com, there is students. Under students, the sub menu, study resources. Under study resources, ACCA qualification, SBL. Under SBL, one is CB question practice platform and paper specimen. I will say CB practice platform. If I will go there, specimen exams, which are specimen exam 1, 2, 3, practice exam 1, 2, 3. 6 exam papers, just like exam standards are there. All these 6. The 3 are specimen 1, 2, 3 and then practice exam 1, 2, 3. You can say that SBL exam started from September 2018. That was the first term. Then December 18, second term, 2 exams. Then in 2019, 4 exams, 6 exams. Then in 2020, March, June, there was no exam at most of the places. Then September. So you can say that 4 plus 2 plus 1, 7 exams. 7 exams happened. Out of 7 exams they have given, you can say 6 papers. I will not say that a student need to do all the papers, but what you did in the webinar, what they were saying, that when you are doing the specimen exams or you are doing the practice exam, it is suggested that the student should be doing it like you will be giving on the exam day. Exactly 4 hours on a desk where you will be giving exam. Think that you are in the exam hall. Write the answers in 4 hours. After writing the answers, take a PDF because it will be telling you to take a PDF. And after getting the PDF, the advice is that students should be going into past exam library. In the past exam library, for all the mocks, the answers are there. All the mocks. All the mocks answers are there. So those mocks answers you can check here. You can analyze yourself whether you are in the right direction or not. See the marking guidelines and everything, so that you can work on your weak areas. Maybe at least I can say 3 to 4 papers should be done. Generally, the specimen papers 1 and 2 is very lengthy. When they prepared specimen paper around 1.5 years back, then they didn't realize that that would be so lengthy. Then after 1 or 2 specimen paper, the specimen 3 and the practice exams are less lengthy. But the specimen 1 and 2 is very, very lengthy. Because that was initially institute thought that this they will be asking. But then they realized that it is very, very difficult to answer in 4 hours. So they reduced slightly the limit. So specimen 1, 2 is lengthy and then others are slightly less lengthy. Okay, let's start. Others will join in between. We cannot waste our time. We should not. Okay. First of all, I have to say 15-20 minutes only what is essential from my side. Okay. You can see that you must have seen on the ACCA website, most probably, but still there is a flow chart given on the ACCA website. From there only I have downloaded. The flow chart mainly states about when they ask questions in exams, then the question asks different types of write-ups. What should be the presentation of a write-up? A detailed guideline given by the institute. If you will say that you have seen that on the website or not a problem. After the class, I will mail this, don't worry. The first is given as the entire ACCA syllabus in one page. Then they are saying that what is an strategic business leader exam. Let me increase the slides. This is taken from Institute website, not prepared by me. It's free resources available on Institute website. So they are saying that in the exam, you are treated as a consultant or a right hand, left hand of the board members. You will be advising the board members in strategic decisions, or if you are not working, you are providing consultancy. You will be providing consultancy to the organization in strategic areas. That's the view you will be having in exam, because it's not an exam. It's like you are actually giving advice. Generally, we know this. I'm just saying 4 hours exam, 100 marks, 80 marks is technical, 20 marks professional. We need to score 50 marks. The pre-scene, not pre-scene, I will say the write-up will be of 12 to 15 pages. All the question will be based on that scenario, and the emphasis is on technical and professional skills. Now, the main important part is, if they are asking you in the question to write a report, write a memorandum, write a briefing paper, whether it's a report, whether it's a memorandum, whether it's a briefing paper, you should be starting your answer to whom you are writing this from. Maybe you are the, I mean to say, senior finance manager writing to finance director. So to the finance director, Mr. This. From the senior finance manager, Mr. This. Title, that is about what you are giving this report, memorandum, briefing paper, date. Then in the first, you will be writing 1 or 2 lines about what you are going to explain in the memorandum or briefing paper. Then different paragraph you can say. For a different paragraph, you can have a subheading. Not essential. If you get time, you can have a subheading. They are saying paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, as per the requirement, what is asked in the question. And then at the end, whenever you are writing a briefing paper, report or memorandum, then you should be giving, whether it is asking a recommendation, what should be done. If no recommendation, then the conclusion or any further action. That should be the layout for a memorandum, for a report or briefing paper. If they are asking, write a letter to somebody, to any organization, to a supplier, to a customer, anything. When writing a letter, should start with a name and address of the sender, like we write a mail. Similarly, address of the sender, name and address of the recipient. Because you think that you are sending the letter in an envelope. For that reason, it is senders, receiver, everybody's name and address. Then to the letter, you will say either Dr. Miss, dear Miss, or dear Sir, whatever is the case. Then start writing the letter. What is about the letter? You can say a type of introduction. And then writing the letter in different paragraphs. Not writing numbering, point number 1, point 2, Roman 1, not required. They have written. Finish off with something like, if you need any further information, please do not hesitate to contact. Now they have not written that in case of briefing paper or memorandum. Sometimes that can be written there also, not always. Because if you are giving some advice, but while taking that advice, the person may have questions, so you can write in the memorandum also. But in the letter, always this should be written. If the letter starts, dear sir, it is always should be ending with yours faithfully. If it is not dear sir, or I mean to say, if it is Mr. X, Mr. Y, then in that case, sincerely. That means somebody is senior to you. So you are saying sincerely. As Somyadev, you were asking that if they are asking something relating to slide. First, there are 2 more write-up. You can say layout for a press release. There is something happened and we want to something publicize in a magazine, in a newspaper, somewhere, in online forum. So layout for a press release. You will make an heading, press release, the name of the company who is giving the press release, date for release, when it is going to be released in the press. Then the press release document, the write-up and the signed by PR office, because the press release, the marketing and branding is managed by the PR office. So it should be signed by the PR office. Generally, when they will ask in the exam writing for press release, then they will say that you are somebody from the PR office, or you are helping the PR office to write that. So you are writing on their behalf. So for that reason, layout for a press release. Then slides and notes layout, which we can say that PowerPoint presentation. There can be one slide or a two slide or three slide as it will be asked in the question. In all the questions in exam, they will mention whether the PowerPoint will be of two slides or one slide. The number of slides which they are asking, you will be making only that many slides, not more, not less. Don't be extra. Two slides, two only. Slide 1, slide 2, depending upon slide. State notes after the slide bullets. Slide 1, bullet 1, bullet 2. Bullet means what? It's not a sentence. The main area which you want to cover in slide. Bullet points should be in appropriate length and number. Number, or you can say bullets, whatever you like, or maybe 1, 2, 3. Nobody is saying that you cannot say write 1, 2, 3. Avoid repetition. Try to make the bullet points very different than each other. Not that the bullet points are confusing, that they are actually same only. Prioritize, make a logical order. Generally try to write bullet points which are more important earlier. Use proper language. Make 2 to 3 times as many notes as the bullet points itself. If you are writing a bullet point relating to the bullet point, you need to write below notes 2 to 3 lines. That what is about the bullet point. Because when we are in a meeting, when we are, you can say when we are in the, as Mansi, you were saying that you were doing the ACCA webinar. You can see that the webinar was presented through the PowerPoint PDF. Those PowerPoint slides were giving the bullet points. Sometimes they were taking in the deep also. So in exam, they are asking that you are actually working. The bullet points should be very straight bullet points, and then explain those bullet points in the notes below in 2 to 3 lines each, so that the reader can understand what exactly you want to cover through the PowerPoint slides. You can see that when you refer the questions in exam, they are falling in those 4 categories. And I've written that just that in the ACCA website, they have given some small videos. Those videos will help you to have understanding that how can you build up your answer better. If you ask me, if I will say generally, according to my understanding, I can say that this SBL exam, easy. Why? No, not so much technical knowledge required. Like suppose many times a student asks that, sir, if they are asking about stakeholders, I don't remember the technical article relating to stakeholder, Mendelow's matrix वगैरह मेरे को याद नहीं है. कोई टेंशन नहीं है. If you remember Mendelow's matrix and you are naming there Mendelow's matrix, but you are not able to explain the stakeholder significance, acceptance and all that, there is no meaning. So technicality, if you ask me, there are so many models relating to corporate governance, performance appraisal, so many things are there. I don't remember. If I'm taking a class, suppose I'm starting SBL batch from 14th. When I will be taking a class, every class I will be studying before starting the class exactly what is covered in the technicality. But after a month, I don't remember exactly what are the paragraphs or points. When I'm giving exam, if I will be giving exam, I will not, I mean to say, curse myself that I don't able to remember the technical points, the models and all that. Not required. Because even though I remember the model, I need to apply that model in the given scenario. So for that reason, remembering the models is not essential. As far as you can say some calculations which involves in some question, you can say some ratio analysis, some normal time, not that they are asking the calculation, prepare balance sheet, PL account, prepare cash flow like SBR, or they will be asking do the calculation of future option swap, nothing. It's not that exam. But some basic calculation of ratios, some ratios, non-financial, financial ratios, some data analysis, some percentage calculation that will be there. Those does not require any technical knowledge. By looking at the data, what we want to say, for saying that, what basic calculation I should be doing. For doing the calculation, I will say that you will be given a spreadsheet also, and you are given a Word file to write the theory. If the calculation does not involve columns, like that, I need to do calculation, but it does not involve 4 or 5 columns. I will not be going into a spreadsheet. I will be writing the calculation along with the Word file only. I can save my time. But if it involves 4 or 5 columns, and I will make that columns in what I should say in the Word file, it will be taking more time. Then I will be going into Excel sheet, spreadsheet to do some calculations. So that depends upon exam. We can say that some basic calculations will be required to explain your point, but that does not require so much technical knowledge. So it's an open-ended exam where technicality is not going to be tested so much. The technicality is already developed in us by studying so much. Maybe suppose this is the first exam we are giving in ACCA. Somebody is giving SBL first. He is a chartered accountant. He or she is already a CA. He or she already has some basic understanding. That is technicality. We don't require to study technical thing for passing SBL exam. But it's difficult. Why? Why it's difficult? No fixed answer. I am writing an answer for a question. My answer, Somedev answer, Manasi answer, anybody's answer can be different. No problem. Everybody can have a different answer. Everybody is correct also. There is no fixed answer for any specific question. There are no fixed points. That is a problem. If I am doing a SBR question and it is asking goodwill calculation, everybody has to have the same goodwill only, unless and until question involves some assumption. If it is asking a particular AFM question, that is the company should be doing hedging through futures option, I will be doing calculation, whichever is best I will be saying. A fixed answer is there. But in SBL, there is no fixed answer. You can have a different opinion than mine. You are saying totally different thing. I am saying totally different thing, but we both are correct. That creates a problem. That when we read questions and we read the model answers, we find that are we correct? Are we logical? We can understand. I will be able to understand only by reading the requirement properly. So for that reason, it's difficult also because there is no fixed answer. What should be the procedure? If I am in the exam hall, first I will read all the requirements. Requirements means 10 marks, 12 marks, 5 marks, 6 marks. All the requirements I will read. Suppose in reading the requirement I am taking 5 minutes. If I am in the exam hall, I will do first of all this. What I will do second step? After reading the requirements, I will make myself ready that this requirement is relating to this exhibit. This requirement is relating to this exhibit. That is correlation of requirements to different exhibit. You understand that I have not yet read the exhibit. I am just reading the requirements. When I am getting the paper on the screen, my first point I will straight away go from the left hand side requirement. I have read all the requirements. Maybe I can do the copy paste of the requirement in the answer sheet also. Then I will correlate by looking at the exhibit, which exhibit is related with which requirement. Which exhibit is related with requirement. The third step, making myself ready the order of my answers. Order of my answers means there are 6-7 questions. Maybe I am interested in writing answers for the third one first. Reason is very normal that in that area I am thinking I am the best. That question is designed for me. That is my strong area. So I will analyze in which order I will be answering the questions. It's not that I have to answer first one first. I can answer third one first one later. So I will decide my order. I can say that correlation of exhibit will take 5 minutes. Please understand, I have not read the 12-15 pages question, not read the scenario. I am first of all reading the requirements, then I am correlating the requirements with the exhibit. Which one exhibit related with what? Then I am making my mind ready as per the question paper in which area I am very strong. So I will make the order. I am taking further 5 minutes into this. I have decided that I will be giving 5 minutes for this. Fourth step, introduction. You can say, I will read the 15, I can say 12 to 15 pages in 30 minutes. I will take, maybe in 30 minutes, there are some areas where I am not reading very well, but I will try to complete my reading in 30 minutes. So my requirement is there. I have correlated the exhibit. I have decided that which question I will be doing first. Then I read the 12 to 15 pages in a speed way so that I can start my write-up. Then comes the fifth step. Start writing the answers as per the order decided. Now, while writing the answer, one time more you need to go through with the exhibit, because exactly what is the requirement again you will read. You have read, but again you will read, and again you will correlate the exhibit which is relevant for that. You will make up your mind. When you are making your mind, you can say that in the main answer sheet in the Word file only, you are making some points. Point in the sense first, then second, then third, then fourth. Say relating to the question in which you are strong, you are getting 4 or 5 points in your brain. 4 or 5 points you want to explain. That is coming in your brain. Before writing the answer, 10 points will not be coming. When you start writing, after writing 1 or 2 points, you will get the feeling. So before starting answer, at least you can get a start. At least you can get some feeling what I am going to write. What are the areas which I want to cover based on the scenario, based on the requirement, based on the exhibit. What is the thing I am going to cover here? You start explaining them. This first, you explaining this in 2-3 sentences. Bullet points like Indian exam, one-liner, not allowed. You have to explain. Maybe you are writing 4 points. If you explain, you will get more marks. But somebody is writing 8 points. One line, will be getting not more than 10% marks. If you are writing less points but explaining your thought process, you will be able to score more marks. While writing the sentences, try to make simple. Don't be very lengthy. One line, maximum one sentence. Explain one thing in very simple sentences, very simple English, so that anybody can understand. While writing these 3-4 points, automatically some points will come in your mind that you should be writing this also. You can cover them, but have a check on your watch that if it is a 10 marks question, you can take 10 into 1.8, 18 minutes. You will say, sir, why you are saying 18 minutes? I have already taken in 5, 5, 5, 20, 30, 50. Then in every question, I am still doing some time wastage. I am not writing at that time. So I am assuming that out of 240 minutes, 60 minutes is gone in reading. I think actually greater than 60, but approximately 60 minutes. So I am getting for 100 marks, 180 minutes. 1 marks, 1.8 minute. 10 marks, 18 minutes. In 18 minutes, my length of the answer 18 into 1.5. 1 minute, 1.5 line write-up. So 18 minutes will give you 18 into 1.5, 27 to 30 lines. If you say that I am very good at typing speed, I know all the buttons on the keyboard and all that, that's other thing. Somebody will say that I am very weak, but you have to have this much length of the answer. You need to see that if something you know, initially when we know very well this thing, when we are starting this, we generally carried away. Something need to be answered in 18 minutes, we are taking 30, 35 minutes. We are thinking that it is not a 10 marks question, it's a 40 marks question. But because of that, we will not be able to complete the paper. So from the beginning only, We need to have control over time. That means in 10 marks question, I can take around 18 to 20 minutes. In 18 to 20 minutes, my length of the answer should be around 30 lines. If I am taking one paragraph as one point, then I can say that 5 lines of one paragraph. So 30 lines means 5 to 6 paragraphs I am covering, which is decent enough to score easily pass marks in the exam. But time and everything should always be controlled. Maybe something you don't know, which you have decided you will write at the end. You have to write. You can't leave that. Because who says that you are writing the first one, even though you are very confident, but it is 100% going correct? Maybe you are writing some invalid points, not relevant. So you need to complete the entire paper. And for that, the time management is very essential. The time management need to be concentrated. Many times we see that since 12 to 15 pages write-up is given, in the exhibit only something are there which we can use in our write-up. We can copy paste 1 or 2 lines from the exhibit, because that is very relevant in writing the answer. That will make our English also good. But it's not a comprehension exam that you can copy paste everything. Some point I'm saying 1 or 2 lines somewhere you find that it is good. Somewhere there is an exhibit given numericals. You find that 3-4 lines, column and rows of the exhibit are relevant. You can copy and paste in your answer. You can do it faster. So something you can do where you can save time, but you need to correlate in your brain that I need to go with a rule of 1.8 for 1 mark. Then in that case, the time will be there to complete the paper. Cannot leave a single marks paper. If you leave, the chances of passing will be less, because it's a theoretical exam. The highest marks in SBL, if you see the past exams, world highest, it's between 70 to 75, 78, never 80. The highest marks are 70 to 75. It's a theoretical exam, subjective exam. So you cannot be scoring out of 100% marks. 70 to 75 will be the world highest. The pass percentage is very good, because in SBL, SBR, both the subject, generally the pass percentage is greater than 50%, generally. But in the optional paper, APM, AFM, AAA and ATX, it's around 35-40%. All the optional paper pass percentage is less. But all the compulsory paper in professional level, the pass percentage is very good. So if we give a decent performance, we can easily pass this exam. The difficult, challenging part is that 4 hours exam, which you need to practice that. You can sit for 4 hours with concentration. Because if you have never practiced 4 hours, because up till now, whenever we have given exam, it's 3 hours. Up till now, most of the students given exam in ACC, anywhere copy pen. It's a computer based. It's a different challenge. So if we don't practice, maybe on the day of exam, we will not be able to function for 4 hours. I will say that it's actually 4.5 hours. Because they are saying that you need to log in half an hour earlier. You need to give your ID proof and all that, so that they will allow you, then the system will start. So it's 4.5 hours. They are allowing 5 minutes break, but I think that every single second is important. If I am in the exam hall, I will not be taking any single second break in the exam. I will be doing entire 4.5 hours without any break. Because why I will waste my 5 minutes? Very important, 5 minutes, 1.8. 5 into 1.8 and into 1.5 lines I will not be able to write. Plus 10 minutes to read the instructions. Which instructions? Those instructions I am not counting in 4 hours. That is, so you are getting separate time, na?
So we need to log in by, just by half an hour before the exam. Then after half an hour,
10 minutes for instructions. Those 10 minutes instructions,
4 hours to start.
I will say that the 10 minutes instructions, you can keep yourself calm, because all the instructions are already written. Whenever you are doing a paper on the institute website, whatever they will be showing as an instruction, everything is already written. So that means what? That 10 minutes you can make yourself strong, or maybe that 10 minutes you can go for washroom, because that time is counted, but still that is not wasting your 4 hours, which is writing time. So 10 minutes we can say a calming time. You can say when the players are going for batting, they are doing like this. Batsman like this. That is 10 minutes. But if somebody has not read the instructions on the website, then he will be wasting his 10 minutes. He will be concentrating those 10 minutes also. We can save time of those 10 minutes. So you can say that it's a 5 hours exam where you cannot go to washroom for 5 hours. You need to control. You should be fully, make yourself, don't eat so much, less eating properly. Some Water also intake water less, because if you take more and more water, you will be feeling nature call. In 4 hours, you will not be able to stop. So for that reason, less water, less eating. After the exam, you can have 5 glasses of water. After the exam, you can have 5 chapatis. But before the exam, 1 or 2 chapatis at least around 2 hours before. Some sip of water so that you can continue in the exam for 4 hours without taking any break. That is, according to me, should be practiced at least for 1 or 2 papers before the exam. Mock papers means what? You will be doing that thinking that you are in the exam hall, you are giving exam for 4 hours, and you are practicing that exactly in the same environment, on the same machine, on the same place, doing that for 4 hours. Then you will be able to follow that, because that is very essential. Knowing the thing, and then knowing the thing about the requirement of the exam. The last thing from my side, I can say that suppose ethics, corporate governance, risk management, financial analysis, you can say ratio analysis, then environment analysis, strategic analysis, then I can say performance measurement, IT, professionalism. As per my understanding, whatever the technical areas are there in the syllabus, they can be categorized broadly into these headings. When we are looking at these headings, we need to have an understanding that what we know about them. It's very open-ended, because all the write-up depends upon what is the scenario, what is the situation, what position you are, whom you are going to reply on. Those things, the write-up depends. But a basic, you can say technically, I need to know the ethics. Ethics means what? If suppose somebody will say that, sir, I don't remember the ethical guidelines which is given in the book. Integrity, objectivity, professional competence, professional behavior. Then you can say confidentiality, I don't remember. Suppose I don't remember the ethical dilemmas or ethical threats, self-review threats, then you can say abandonment threat, then I don't remember. Suppose I don't remember. I am saying I am a student who don't remember any of these things. Can I pass? I can easily pass. Who says that by writing integrity, objectivity, or ethical dilemmas, I will be getting the marks? One more thing. Sustainability. With that IRG, IR, integrated reporting. What I mean to say that, what is ethics? In everyday life, whenever we are going anywhere, we are analyzing ethics. If I will say what is ethics, there is no definition of ethics. You can find a write-up, whole lot of write-up saying what is ethics. Ethics means not a law. Those which are law, they can be said as ethics, but there are many things which does not fall in the law, but they can be said as ethics. If you are working in an organization and your boss or somebody saying you to do something which is not correct. Not correct in the sense which is in the eyes of the law is not incorrect. In the eyes of the law it is correct. But according to your principle, your understanding, you think that it is incorrect. It is not ethical. It should not be done. Suppose Soumyadev is working in my organization. Some student is asking that whether I will be able to get the job by doing the course and all that. I said to Soumyadev, tell him that you will be able to get this job. Somyadev started saying, where it is written that in workbook this is illegal, but Somyadev is verbally communicating on my instructions wrong. I am unethical. Somyadev is also unethical. Because why Somyadev is accepting unethical thing from me? There is no book which says that it is wrong or right. But in normal human beings culture, understanding it's unethical. I mean to say that when they will ask question to you, they are not asking, write the ethical principles, write the ethical dilemmas. They are not asking. They will not ask this. They are giving you a situation. And that situation you need to analyze what is correct, what is wrong. Now the situation is not written in any book that this is unethical or this is ethical. You have certain parameters where you can say that this is ethical. You have certain parameters where you can say that this is unethical. I am just, you can see, elaborating the same example which I said to Somyadev. That Somyadev is working in my organization. Students are inquiring for a different courses. I said to Somyadev, when the students are inquiring, tell them that this is the job, this they can get. Somyadev said, yes, I will say to them, okay. Now, if that is not correct, that is unethical. So I can say that since Somyadev is working in the organization, he has a target. He has been communicated that you need to communicate with this many students. There should be a conversion. If 100 students you are talking, then the 10 students, 12 students should be converted. Otherwise, what is the benefit of Somyadev? So Somyadev need to do his job in such a way that the organization should be getting the benefit. So if Somyadev is saying something, then in that case, the conversion is happening. That becomes ethical. From that part of angle, from that angle, it is ethical. But if Somyadev is communicating something to the student which is wrong, which is not correct, whether I have communicated to him, but that is wrong, Somyadev also know, but he is saying wrong thing to the students, then the Somyadev is violating the terms of ethics. Whether it's by law illegal or not, forget that. But Somyadev is not doing the correct thing, something which Somyadev already knows that it is not correct. He is communicating to the other person that it is correct. Which you can say that in ACCA language, in any professional course language, CA, CWA, CMA, ACCA, CIMA, CPA, integrity. Integrity means what? We should not be saying anything which is wrong. We should not be taking part in something which is not correct. So Somyadev is saying something to the student which is not correct, which Somyadev already know. So Somyadev is violating the integrity principle. But Somyadev is not writing this word integrity. Somyadev is saying that this is unethical because of this reason. Can we say that Somyadev don't know ethics? He knows very well. He knows better than me. I am writing integrity, but I am not able to explain integrity. Somyadev is don't know integrity, but Somyadev is able to explain why this is unethical. He will be getting more marks than me. It's just an example which I want to say that there is nothing called that you have to write models, you need to remember. Because we are wasting, or I will say that most of the times we are interested in mugging up the points, ethical dilemmas and all that. Not required. That will not help you. That is not going to affect you like that, that you may think that you will be getting huge marks in exam. No, man. If you are practical enough, if you are logical enough to explain your answers, the marks will be very high. Which I have seen, I say that suppose Somyadev, when you did the class for SEMA students, it's not that a student is writing ethical answer like this, he will be getting more marks. No, man. When he is writing logical thing, he will be getting more marks. When I check the copy, I give more marks to those students who are more understandable. Why? That's the examiner feedback. That the comments given the examiner that this is the student is writing, they will be given more marks. So any ethical area has some points which are against that principle, and any area have some favorable points. You need to explain those adverse points, 1 or 2 points. You need to explain those favorable points, and you need to give your conclusion what should be done in this situation. You will get thumbs up, full marks. Maybe you are not mentioning integrity, objectivity, ethical dilemmas, but indirectly you are mentioning everything which is required in the exam. That we understand. You have done the EPSM module. The EPSM module says that there are some scenarios they explain. Those scenarios need to be explained in your language. I can understand that suppose Somyadev, you are convent educated. Your English is very good. But the English, this exam is not an English exam. that if you are able to develop very good literature English, the examiner is not going to give you marks on literature. They are going to give you marks on logic. Why this is ethical, why this is unethical, what are the favorable points that this is saying that this is correct, what are the unfavorable points that this is saying that this is incorrect, that you need to elaborate. That is our focus in the exam. So obviously, out of 100 marks paper, some portions definitely will be there on ethical part. Now, if I want to say that when the question will be there on ethics, and if I can remember the 5 ethical points, the 4-5 dilemmas, it is better. I can elaborate better. But even though if I don't able to concentrate in exam, those points don't take tension. That will not affect your performance in the exam. Corporate governance. The basic corporate governance says what? The directors are managing the affairs of the company, but the directors are appointed by the shareholders. Directors have been given some powers. Directors have some duties in the company to perform. They are the agent of the shareholders. The directors are divided into 2 categories: executive, non-executive. Non-executive director should not be less than the executive director. Executive director run the business, do daily things. Non-executive director see that whether the executive director are functioning properly or not. So if the non-executive directors are less, they will not be able to control the executive director's affairs. The non-executive directors are mainly for internal control. They don't come in the office regularly. They are independent persons. Executive director can be dependent, may not be independent, but the non-executive director should be independent. The directors should have different skills. Somebody finance, somebody IT, somebody this. Different skills they should have, so that they will be able to function, they will be able to do the work which they have been assigned, which they can do, which they have the knowledge, they should have the experience. Then we say that they have the leadership quality, they have the knowledge, they have the experience. That is versatility in the director's knowledge process. The company should be structured by, you can say, governance committees, nomination committee, risk committee, then you can say audit committee, then you can say the generally corporate governance of most of the countries. It's not a country specific exam, but generally most of the countries says that there should be a nomination committee, there should be an audit committee, there should be a remuneration committee. Risk committee is not essential, but it should be there if the company is big. These committees should only be composed of non-executive directors. The non-executive directors should be forming part, but if most of the committees have maximum same non-executive director, it is affecting the independence. The non-executive directors should be composing these committees, and these committees will take call about all the aspects which is run in the company. The chairman and CEO should not be the same person. Chairman is managing the board, CEO is managing the company. So they should not be the same person. If the same person is there, he will have undue advantage and he will not be doing the function properly for the benefit of the stakeholders. Those directors who are not independent in any decision, in any situation, they should disclose that. They should not take part in that discussion. Non-executive directors should never be, should always be independent. And for the shareholders' grievances, anything, there should be a particular cell in the company who can communicate with the shareholders in their problems, in their issues, where they can see. That's the normal corporate governance. Along with that, whatever is given in the question, whatever stories are given, we need to build. But that is normally corporate governance. Now, if you say that corporate governance are for protecting the assets of the company, for internal control, for operational efficiency, for safeguarding the assets, for preparing financial state, that's indirect way of explaining. Ultimately, the corporate governance means the company should be governing in such a way that they will be able to take call, they will be able to protect the interest of everybody in the organization, all the stakeholders. That's the basic purpose of corporate governance. If you say in India, for corporate law, section 1 to section 636, so many sections are there. There is new changes in 2013. Who remember all these? We are not a lawyer. We need to understand the basic corporate governance, running the board, running the members, running the business of the company for the interest of all the stakeholders. That is the basic corporate governance. So if there is any problem in internal control, anywhere the issues are there, the corporate control need to be strengthened, need to be improved so that the company can function properly. And they will be able to satisfy the needs, desires of the stakeholders. Risk, there is no limit for risk. Business risk, strategic risk, employee risk, malfeasance risk. If a company has having export import business, then global risk, global economical risk, there is financial risk, even there is unlimited risk in every business. Because now somebody will say that, Somedev, you only asking that should I write something relating to corona? Unless and until in the question in the 12 to 15 pages write up or in any requirement they are mentioning relating to corona, then only you should be writing something relating to corona. But just that, because you can write more, you start saying examples of corona which is not relevant there. You are forcefully incorporating the example. The marks will not be given on that. Now, I cannot say that everywhere you can take an example, but mean to say that if in the 12 to 15 pages they are not giving anything, okay? And in the requirement also, they are not giving any hint of corona. Don't take the example of corona. Reason is only one. Who is in this world don't know about corona? I will say that my son, 7 years age, he can also say कोरोना में बाहर नहीं जाना है, हाथ धो के रहना है, यार बेसिक उसको भी मालूम है. मेरा ये बोलने का मतलब है, they don't want in the exam that the student taking liberty and explaining something which is very general and common and scoring marks. For that reason, the examples of corona and all that should be only in case of special instructions. Otherwise, don't take examples on corona.
Hello.
Yeah.
Actually, sir, I asked in a specific question, like it was a case study where a departmental store was facing some business crisis. Actually, it was in the March 2019 paper.
Huh?
Now, the departmental store was facing crisis due to the online, due to the emergence of online sales.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, but in the given case, the departmental store was a traditional departmental store. I mean,
Okay.
it had some outlets, I mean, where the customers went and used to shop.
Okay.
But due to the online trend, due to the growing trend of online sales,
Huh?
it has faced some business downturn in its.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh?
So, sir, that's why in that context, I thought of mentioning an additional point that in such a time, in the
Don't
context of
mention.
COVID-19,
Not
actually,
mention.
because people will try to, avoid social gathering or social crowding, so they will look out for, e-commerce sites like say Flipkart or
But don't write. I'm saying why? Because they want to say that corona is, you can say, in the human being's life only first and last. So these 5 months cannot be taken as an example for general write up. If you are writing the answer, you need to write all those points which are relevant other than corona. If you write the points relating to corona, then also you will not be getting marks on corona point.
Okay, so based on that case study, that due to the growing emergence of online,
Yes, huh? Even though if the corona is not there, then still most of the persons, you can say old age person, 55, 60 years of age, not because of corona. They already started doing shopping online only. So the trend is changing. The people mentality is changing. They are very busy. They don't have time to go to shop to buy the things. They want that the doorstep, everything should be available. In place of corona, we should be writing all these things. नहीं लिखना कोरोना के बारे में, गड़बड़ हो जाएगा मेरे भाई, बात मान लीजिए. ठीक है.
और सर दूसरा
हाँ.
बात है कि मान लीजिए सपोज अ कंपनी हैज
हाँ.
बिकम very much popular in its business.
हाँ.
It was in a case also that
हाँ.
it has become very popular in its in a different country. Okay.
Okay.
Now actually it's a multinational company, but
ठीक
in
है.
its home country उसमें उतना popular नहीं था.
ठीक है.
लेकिन एक दूसरा country साउथलैंड से फॉर
हाँ.
एग्जांपल उसमें बहुत वो पॉपुलर हो गया.
ठीक है.
Now, actually, there was a task stating that why the company has become so much successful in that other country. Now, sir, according to the traditional when after writing the exams, I compared it with the model answers.
हाँ.
तो वहां पर लिखा था कि that Potter's diamond force, that is that factor
हाँ, ठीक है,
contribution.
फैक्टर डिमांड कंडीशन ये सब ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
हाँ.
तो सर अगर मैं तो सर मान लीजिए in the exam,
हम्म.
given my example, suppose if I don't refer to the model, but
हाँ.
मैं ऐसा लिखता हूँ using the exhibit कि इस कंट्री में अच्छा इकोनॉमी था, this country had a good political situation, this country had free capital markets, capital finance available, and people are also they are also employed, they have got greater purchasing power as it is seen. So
Yeah.
these factors led to the success of the company. So will I get marks? But I have any model. I've only used
You will get 100% marks because I am taking my example only. Generally from Middle East, when the students are joining, you can say that in ACCA and CIMA, these courses, CMA US and CPA, all these courses, I can say that we are teaching 50% students from Middle East presently. That's the ratio. Middle East in the sense Dubai, Qatar, Tanzania, Saudi Arabia, all these belt. I am saying entire Middle East. 50% students are from Middle East. If you go on SBL batch, suppose there are 25 students, you will find 10 are from Middle East. Why the students are so much from the Middle East? Why? The reasons are for your question. In the Middle East, the tuition classes are very costly. What we are charging for the 4 subject, they are charging for 1 subject greater than that. That's one thing. Second thing is that in the Middle East, the training classes are very professional type. Like means to say, suppose for SBL, they will be taking 20 hours class. That's all. That means they are not able to get full support of the classes. And then the students are very busy. They want odd hour classes that in the night 8, 9. They don't want that the busy days should be involved into that. They have the purchasing power. The money capacity is there. They can pay. But then they are not getting the satisfaction there. For that reason, they are coming to us. That's the main reason. So you can say that if we compare the competitor in the Middle East, Dubai area and ours, then there is a big difference. Pricing, quality, material, classes, support, everything they are getting better than there. And at the same time, they can save their 70-80% money. So why they will not be interested in our classes? Similar is the case when they are saying that in the other country you are successful. Definitely something must be written, maybe in a paragraph, that why you are successful in that other country, the way you were saying that the purchasing power is more, the other competitors are not giving that quality, you are able to satisfy the quality, you are actually satisfying the needs of the customers. So why the customer will not be coming to you? Why? So maybe you are not mentioning the factor condition, demand condition. But if you read the answer, the demand condition is what? The demand condition says what?
it is actually, I mean, the demand condition says that due to increased employment and due to the fact that not much people have lost their jobs, and in that aging group, also, I'm sorry, in the population group, almost 50% of the population are working, and another out of them, almost 45% is of the age limit of 30 years of age. So they form a vital customer group for the
No, no. Why we are going into that direction? Demand. What is demand?
yes, because there is a demand for low price goods because they say
Not low price. Maybe we are saying, say, Apple. We are saying that our product is demanded. Why? Because we have established ourselves in this, you can say, suppose we are saying that Samsung or Apple or any company is able to work or function all over the world. Why? Because they have been able to satisfy very difficult demand, very difficult requirement of the customers in their own field, in their own domestic player. Then in that case, when they are going to other market, they are already the leader. Nobody can compete with them. So when the people demand is already there and you are bringing the product on the table which the people will like, then automatically they will buy your product. So demand condition says that in the other place where you are going, you are already taking a successful product. Maybe in the domestic country you are not so successful, but you are the best player in the domestic market. And then when you are going into the foreign market, you are able to attract the customers because of your quality. So demand is already there. You are just giving what they require. You are able to satisfy the customer. What you are saying relating to availability of employees and all that resources factor, the factors are there which help you to grow into the other country. So if somebody is writing the demand and factor, he is also writing the same thing. Obviously, English language is different. He is using a model. You are not using the model. But you are also writing the same thing. He is also writing the same thing.
okay sir.
Right here.
So that was my doubt कि हमको मार्क्स मिलेगा, हम तो नहीं कर रहे हैं.
अगर ऐसे नहीं मार्क्स मिलेगा तब तो मर जाएंगे यार. अभी इनको क्या बोले यार, ये बा यार बोलते हैं नहीं सुन रहे तो वॉइस सेलेक्ट करेंगे नहीं तो क्या होएगा. प्लीज Select your audio. Okay, so what I am saying that it is not that, as I said initially, I am writing the answer with ethics answer in models, writing the ethical points. You are not writing that, but you are explaining that only. You will also, I am also correct, you are also correct. It's not that you are wrong because you are not writing integrity, but you are explaining integrity in your own language. That is integrity only. So there is no problem in that. Just that don't try to write corona just as an example, unless and until it is unavoidable, because generally the question paper will not focus on corona. Generally, 99.99%. So if we will be writing corona, then in that case we will not be getting marks. Just to increase our answer length, we are thinking of a point of corona, that is not allowed. Just you guess, in the below chat box, there is written 2. Beside 2, there is a drop down. In the drop down, click select everyone and then chat. So that whatever you are chatting, everybody can see. So what we are saying is risk management, any type of risk which can arise in the organization, they should be regularly identifying the risk. There should be a cell where they can manage the risk, they can measure the risk, they can control the risk. Regularly, the risk management process should be there in the organization. Financial analysis, which is related with ratios, what type of data they give, financial, non-financial ratios, percentage increase or all something that we need to do so that we can write our answer properly. That you can say that a slightly a numerical part, which is generally involved in SBL exam. Environment means not only I am talking about pollution and all that. How we are placed in the market for growth of our business for sustainability. We can use any model, but even though if you are not using the model, as I said, you are able to explain our, you can say, competency in the market. How can we say that we have the resources to satisfy the customers? How we are satisfying the customers? How we have built up our relationship? What is our supply chain management? How is our competitors placed? How we are placed? Then what is the support of the government for a development of the industry? Or is there any problem of any regulatory authority? What are the tax regulations or anything changing in the market? In which segment of the market we are? Whether it's a normal, whether it's a up segment? What is the income level of the consumers who are going to buy our product? We can write the environment in a general way, or we can use Michael Porter 5 forces and all that, pest analysis. That's upon you. But not that if you don't write Michael Porter, I will not give you marks. If you are writing environment, that companies, customers, suppliers, competition, finance, resources, then public, taxation, government, it's environment only. What is my environment? My students, my suppliers, software, technology staff, all these my environment. Those were other. Whether I want to write with the Michael Porter or I want to write in my own way, that doesn't matter. The examiner is not looking that whether you have written the name of Michael Porter or not. Whether you are actually writing bargaining power of buyer, bargaining power of supplier. You are writing about customers, that bargaining power of buyer. You are writing about suppliers, that bargaining power of suppliers. Resources. Doesn't mean that you have to mention this is bargaining power of buyers only. Then only you will get marks. Not like that. The marks are not given for bargaining power of buyer being written. Explanation is giving you marks. So that environment analysis generally involved in the question. If involved, you need to explain the company's position in respect of the industry, in respect of the market, in respect of the future sustainability, in respect of their current environment. Strategic analysis. Strategic decisions are always long term. You are taking strategic decisions for 3, 4, 5 years down the road, which can be said as, you can say, whether you use an ANSOF model or not. But I like that because that can help us to explain the answer very well. As per ANSOF model, we say market development, product development, market penetration, and we can say diversification. That is new market, new product. When we are in a particular market, we are in a particular product, in a particular segment, and we realize that in the product, in the segment, there is a huge demand. We are actually presently getting only 5% of the market share. Why need to think about new product and new development? In the same market, how can we increase our share? In the same market, with the same product, how can we increase our share? That is called market penetration. Same market, same product. Our strategy for coming 3-4 years should be focusing on increasing our market share. If we find that we have already captured 70-80% market, there is no further, you can say, possibility to increase the share in the market, then we need to think either about the development of new market where we are not, or maybe in the same market when we have done the business for so long, why not to bring something else, some new product. When you find that your product life is over, life cycle is over, you will think of new product. When you find that the market is already saturated, then you will think of new market. And if you find that you need to go into totally different area, new market also, new product also, which is a risky strategy. But sometimes you can say Tata, Birla, Ambani's, Reliance is doing in entire Corona this only. Even though I can say that Reliance is into every business, but they are doing diversification and everything they are doing. I can just say that Reliance is able to do that because they have huge money. They can take risk. But the organization who don't have resources, how they can go for a diversification, totally different market, totally different product? That's not possible for everybody. All these strategic decisions are taken by the board members. These strategic decisions require whether you will be doing these developments on your own or whether you will be taking over another organizations, whether it will be organic development, whether it will be inorganic expansion. That strategic development, what will be the vehicle? How you are going to do strategic development? How you are going to do strategic growth? Whether on your own or with somebody else, that we can say as strategic analysis. In that mergers, takeovers, debt, equity, finance, all things comes. That is called as strategic analysis. When we find that our one particular department, one area, one division, one product, one segment is not performing well, then we need to see that what is the problem in that. Or maybe in the entire organization, we are realizing that the net profit margin is going down, gross profit going down. Whenever we are calculating financial ratios or performance measurement, don't focus on so many calculations, because this exam is not on calculation. Some basic ratios, some basic calculation you are doing, more focus on write-up. But some basic calculation you have to do so that you can explain your understanding. Otherwise, you will not be getting proper marks. So if the question relating to performance measurement is say 12 marks, I am getting 12 into 1.8, around 20 minutes. I should be giving around 7 to 8 minutes in the calculation, not more than that. Whatever calculation I can do during that time. If I will be doing the calculation in the Word file or in the spreadsheet, that is my lookout. Whether I need to do column-wise calculation or 1 or 2 year only, I can do in Word file only. But I need to write properly for around, you can say 10, 12 minutes in 15, 20 lines, then only I will be getting proper marks. Any suggestion regarding how much points to write as per marks as we have managed time? Which I said in the beginning only, Mansi, today. What I said, if the question is of 10 marks, you will be taking 18 minutes. 18 minutes means 1.5 line each is around 27-30 lines. If you say that I can type very fast, you can write 40 lines. But generally as a normal student, I will say like me, I cannot type without looking at the keyboard. So my speed will be like that. I can type around 1.5 lines in 1 minute. So I will be typing that much. I have to control over time also, because if something I know and I am writing long, then I will not be able to complete my paper. This I discussed in the beginning only. The steps how to handle the paper, which I said stepwise answer planning. And then I started going saying generally that what is in the syllabus and how you can structure your answers. Because this is a paper which is easy also, difficult also. The same thing. Now, just now, when you did the webinar of ACCA, all the three persons, Pallavi, Eli, and that one more lady, they said already for 40 minutes, all three, ki at your desk what is allowed. Again the student asking question, can I use scrap paper? I don't understand where the student is there when the 40-minute discussion was going on. Again, when they are saying that generally it should be via internet or dongle, then again student is saying well, mobile hotspot. Mobile hotspot will not be working for 4 hours properly. That I know. I have mobile hotspot. If you are doing something, a meeting for half an hour, 1 hour, mobile hotspot will work. But 4 hours mobile hotspot will not be able to work properly. Your exam will cancel. You need to have a dongle. I mean to say that when something is there which we have understood, we should keep in mind that this is the story I need to handle. So for performance management, there are different models also. The Hertzberg model, Mint-Jahrberg, so many things they have written. I don't remember anything. And if I'm in the exam hall, believe me, I'm not interested in writing any particular model. उसको याद करेंगे जबरदस्ती का उसको, because many times it happens that you remember some difficult model and you have the intention, forcefully you want to use that model in the answer. Maybe it is not applicable at all. You are writing, you are thinking what you have written, but that is going totally wrong. That is not asked in the question. So don't try to mug up any model relating to performance management, because this is not that exam. Now if somebody will say, sir, IT के बारे में मेरे को नहीं मालूम है, सर मेरे को भी नहीं मालूम है. What is IT? We are not the IT person, hardware person. We are not the software developer. By looking at the data, how the data, if for development of tuition, what data I require? Who are the students, where they are, from where I can get them, what I should be promoting them, that is IT. So in the business, we need to use IT for business decisions. You are a business-minded person. You are a commercial person. You need to have a commercial acumen to use IT. They are not asking you coding, programming or anything. White hat, we are getting on TV that 7 years boy is developing a program. You are not in that area. I am not in that field. We are not going to understand hardware, software. IT for the business benefit. You need to write everything use of technology for the benefit of the business. You don't have to go into IT technical language. Not required. If sometime they are asking something which you are not getting, try to be very open-ended. Maybe you don't know the word, but you understand the meaning of that word. Explain that. So IT does not mean hardware, software, programming. It's a use of IT for development of the business. There are two types of IT persons required in the market. One is data entry person, hardware, software developer, and one is using that data for the business sense, for getting a sense of the business. We are that persons. We are out of the data going to use the business sense. We are not the person who will develop hardware, software and all that. Professionalism. They have written professionalism points. I don't remember. What's the problem? They have written specifically in specimen answers. Professionalism means which Somyadev and Yogeshwar, you both have written. If you read the model answer, they have written what is professionalism. I am not opening that. It is written categorically. What is asked in the question? If I am writing properly, that is professionalism. When they have written that the professionalism marks to be given to the student, the marking guideline says that whether the student is actually answering what is asked from him, that is professionalism. So professionalism, no, I mean to say business acumen, ethical, environmental, social and all that thing are there. But when you are writing a correct answer, automatically you are fulfilling professionalism. There is no separate thing required for any professionalism. You are answering 80 marks, you will automatically get professionalism marks if your answers are correct. There is no extra thing you need to do for getting professionalism marks. The format need to be proper for writing the answer. That is also professionalism, which I said in the beginning. That format should be followed. And sustainability, either you can explain sustainability that in the financial statement we explain PL account, balance sheet, profit, loss, assets, notes to accounts. But in the PL account, balance sheet, in the financial statement, we don't say about many things. Maybe the company is not doing huge risk. R&D they have reduced. Because of that, their future will be affected. Maybe presently they are earning very high, but R&D when they are not doing in future, their business will be affected. Where we are explaining them? Nowhere. If we are not thinking about the society, pollution control and all that, maybe there is no law, but the people are watching at us. They are saying that we are not ethical. We are not thinking about the environment. That is, we are not sustainable. कुछ ऐसा नहीं है जो मैंने बोला कि एथिक्स में भी ऐसा नहीं है कि यू नीड टू रिमेंबर एथिकल पॉइंट्स. प्रोफेशनलिज्म में भी ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. जो मैंने आप लोग का आंसर लिख कर दिया, अब मेरे को खोलना ही पड़ेगा, फिर क्या करूं मैं. This is which answer you both have written. What they are writing for professionalism marks? Are they writing anything, any specific writer for professionalism? I am taking 5 minutes to read what the institute is saying. what the institute is saying. Markers have the latitude to award professional skills marks for professional and behavioral skill demonstrated in the answer given throughout the paper as described below. Communication, that is, communication should be simple, should be direct, the person to whom you are communicating. Commercial acumen, business sense, what is the benefit of doing this in the business. Analysis, looking at the figures, looking at the data, you can analyze. Skepticism, when you are a professional, you should never accept everything on face value. You should be going into deep, thinking that there may be some ghapla. And evaluation, you should be able to evaluate the situation environment. Now they are saying in point number 1A, there is professionalism marks. Professional skills may be additionally rewarded as in the following rubrics. How well the candidate demonstrated professional skills. Evaluate skills in assessing the environment and performance of DCS company. The first one, a question was relating to environment of the company. Relating to that, they said that the professionalism